Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. My girlfriend and I spent the weekend in Death Valley National Park. Now we gotta drive all the way back to Salt Lake. But coming through this area, I had to stop and do some birding, helps break up the drive, and we can check out a new area we don't usually see. Now I'm here at the Clark County Wetlands Park on the recommendation from Jordan from Bright Eyed Birding. So Jordan, this place better be good, but so far it's looking great. So I think you have given me a great recommendation. I'm excited to explore this park. Let's get into it and do some birding. Now we'll get to the birds I found in the park in a second, but we stopped at the nature center before walking any of the trails, and some kind workers pointed out these hummingbirds to us right in the middle of the building. The building kind of surrounds this pond with some vegetation directly in the middle of it, and there were nesting Anna's hummingbirds. That was a cool way to start off the trip, but let's get into now the Clark County Wetlands Park. So Clark County Wetlands Park is on the eastern edge of Vegas, and it spans 2,900 acres total. Now we focus primarily on the 210-acre nature preserve with all the trails and such for this birding outing. I didn't have time to cover all the rest of it. That would have been insane. But it follows along some rivers and creeks and has a little desert habitat because this is still Vegas. I was pretty impressed with the park's overall design and structure and maps and signage and all of the cool plants and vegetation. They had some great paved trails that we were starting to explore and some good opportunities to see some wildlife. So let's start hitting some of those birds we were seeing. Well, would you look at that? One of the first birds I saw was a lifer, a really cool one too. So I guess Jordan gets props for the recommendation. But man, the wind was blowing like crazy. One thing we are unfortunately dealing with today and this whole weekend, it's been really windy. And so it's gonna be harder to hear the birds with the wind whipping through and just keeping cameras steady and such. And when birds do perch, they're gonna be blown around a lot, or they're gonna prefer to perch closer to the middle of plants that are protected from the wind, which makes it harder to see them. But it's still a gorgeous day out. It feels just like a beautiful temperature and it's sunny. So hard to really complain about a lot of that when it's just so nice out today. So gonna keep walking along here, see if we find anything cool. Now as we explored the habitat, we heard this bird constantly, but man, I just could not get any good shots of it besides this one. That's a Gambel's quail. And I'm a little bummed we didn't get any good shots because it's not a bird I see in Salt Lake County where I live. But moving along anyways, we had another lifer we were hearing. I wanted to get this one on camera for you, but holy cow. It was proving to be quite the nuisance, that's for sure. So we're just sitting here hearing all of these birds calling, and a couple of them are Lucy's warblers, which is a lifer for me. I'm really excited. I saw just brief glimpses of them. We've sat here for about 10 minutes now trying to get them on camera, but some combination of the wind and maybe them just being skulky birds is leading them to stay deep in the vegetation, so we cannot get a picture, unfortunately. But still really cool to get a lifer and get a tiny glimpse of them with my own eyes. I unfortunately just can't show them to you. I'm pretty sure there's one chipping right next to me now here too, but it is in there and I have not gotten any glimpses of it. That was its call right there that we're hearing. So any good media of that Lucy's warbler was just not gonna be today, and that's okay. That happens sometimes. We continued to see the river and look at some of the birds out in the water, and then this happened. What you are looking at right now is a greater roadrunner, up in a tree of all places too, with a lizard in its mouth. It seems to have caught lunch. It was crazy to see. I knew they ate lizards, but I had never seen one catch one before. So totally new experience for me with a bird I see very infrequently too. This was awesome. All right, Jordan, your recommendation delivered. I saw your favorite bird and weirdly up in a tree. I don't know if I've ever seen a roadrunner up in a tree, but super cool. It had a lizard in its mouth. Just pretty nuts encounter. Really happy to see that bird. So shout out to you for the recommendation. Just had to take one more look at that roadrunner because it was so cool. But then right in the bush next to this roadrunner, we got even better views of the black-tailed gnatcatcher. Really awesome to see this bird for a second time today. And I was able to snap a few photos in this little short stint here. Again, none of these are edited because the standard Lightroom, not the classic version, still can't support A7 V photos, so I'm waiting for Lightroom to fix that, and then they'll get uploaded to my Instagram, so go follow me there. But we continued along the river, seeing a few other birds along the way, and watching just the nice scenery on a beautiful day out there. There was an American coot struggling against the current out in the water, and then along the river bank, there was a great-tailed grackle up in the tree. There's a lot of grackle on this day, for sure. And as we continued our walk, we moved away from the main river and started walking back towards the car, passing a few ponds along the way. And what do you know? Some more American coot, and you guessed it, another great-tailed grackle. Then a little further down the trail, though, we saw an Anna's hummingbird just trying its best to stay still while the branches and wind are getting blown all around. And then another greater roadrunner, this time actually out on the move, looking around for who knows what, honestly. But it was cool to see this one moving around and kind of looking inquisitively to the side. And towards the very end of this park, at the last part of the trail at least we were walking, there was a boardwalk, which was pretty cool because we got to see a bunch of turtles and fish out on this pond, so it was nice to add some non-avian species to our day. And looking a little closer at one of these turtles, I caught it doing one of the biggest cat stretches you'll ever see. It just reminded me of our cat Lola. A few more birds to add to the list though in this pond. We got a couple common gallinule to add to our checklist. New species for the day, brought our total up just slightly more. And then a perfect end to the trip, got another lifer to finish us out, Costa's hummingbird. This was an awesome birding adventure and I had a lot of fun, but since it was so short, I wanted to extend the video a little bit, and if you stayed here till the end, just a treat for you to show you some of the sights we saw in Death Valley National Park. Now I took mostly photos, so you're going to see all of these photos here. Again, none of these are edited, these are actually what I was seeing straight out of camera. Some beautiful landscapes at this national park, and a very, very different feel than to what I'm used to. Another great weekend of adventure with some birding tacked on to the end. But back to me to close the video. Well, some absolutely lovely desert birding here today. We got a long drive ahead of us, so I'm gonna round out the video and end here. Thank you for watching this adventure. Like always, I will see you in the next one. Happy birding.